Okay. Can a handbag change a conversation? Can a handbag change a life? Can a handbag change a people? Yes, it can. It changed mine. Let me tell you a little about my trials and tribulations in my life. I grew up in a garmentor family. These are my parents. It all started when they went on a date, and that's my dad and my mom. And he had these shorts on, and there was a similar pair of shorts in the store. And he went up, he looked at my mother and he said, "But I can make these, my mother makes these." And he went up to the store owner and asked him, "You want some of these?" So he said, so the store owner goes, "Yeah, I'll take 12. So he went, he bought the material, he went home, he had his mother make 12, which we say a dozen. Well, everybody says a dozen. So he went back to the store, they reordered, he started making more things, dresses, pants, whatnot, and an empire was born. So I grew up in this factory. My earliest memories are sitting, trimming thread from clothes, because I always wanted to be involved with whatever was going on. I wanted to stand on the cutting table to see people cut cloth, and my mom tells me I fell off the cutting table when I was 1, and I was unconscious for about a minute. I don't remember how. She never told me how I gained consciousness, but or maybe I never did. So I grew up in this factory, and I really loved everything about it. I loved the smell, I loved the cloth, I loved making stuff, I loved seeing stuff made. I was very fortunate to find my love so early in my life. A lot of people don't find what they love to do, and they have to search for a long time. They go to college and they still don't know what to do. I knew from 9 I was sewing stuff. Well, that was a machine. Looked like my grandmother's machine that she sewed the first pants on. I used to dictate what I wanted to wear, and every dress had to have a bonnet. And if I didn't have a bonnet, I would not wear the dress. So most of my baby pictures are with me in a dress with a matching bonnet. That's my brother Ravin, and my first day of school with my dress and my matching bonnet. So I started sewing at 9, and I kept on sewing and loved what I did, and I decided I wanted to go to do fashion. I applied to FIT in New York, Fashion Institute of Technology, and I did not get in. I was gutted, I was devastated, and I thought to myself, how could I not get in? I know how to do everything. They sent me a letter saying, you didn't get into the fashion design program, but you got into the manufacturing management program. How? I don't know. So I said, okay, I want to get out of Trinidad, so let me go. Maybe I'll get transferred over to the fashion program. So I went to FIT and started in the manufacturing management program, which to me was extremely redundant. I knew everything, or I thought I did when I was, 19, and it was everything I had known, from bundling cloth to time management with sewers, to cutting, to pattern making, to sewing. I was sewing on an industrial machine, and I knew how to do it, and the classes were teaching you how to do these things. So I dropped out of school, and I did not tell my parents, so I could stay in New York. Yeah, they weren't very happy when they found out. So needless to say, they cut me off financially, and my dad said, well, if you want to stay, I'll pay your rent, but I'm not sending you any money. Okay. So I have a love for nice things, always have. So I saw this bag in a store, and I could not afford it. So I went and I bought some leather, and I made it. It looked similar to this one. So I made this bag, and I started wearing it out, and my roommate at the time, his girlfriend, who happened to be Mariah Carey's best friend, she was like super fabulous and stuff. And she came over one day and she's like, you want to go to Barneys with me? And I was like, no, I can't afford Barneys. So anyway, she saw my bag and she asked me, where did you get that bag? And I said, I made it. She's like, why aren't you in school? And I said, well, I got kicked out of manufacturing management. And then, anyway, to make a long story short, she said, I'll introduce you to the dean. I went and I met the dean, and I was in the accessory program immediately. I started next semester. I started going to my accessory. It was accessory design, it was called. I learned how to make clutches, that's a clutch. That's a hobo. That's the building that my dad used to buy sewing machines from. He gave me a sewing machine. That's the industrial sewing machine. So I started making stuff and in school, and I didn't go to my other classes like millinery, which is hat making, and shoemaking, which I love shoes, but I just didn't want to make them. So I really wanted to concentrate on handbags. So I started making my stuff at home, and I stopped going to school once again, and guess who wasn't happy about that? So I started making my bags at home, and my classmates were complaining that I wasn't going to school, and they thought I was cheating. So, I dropped out. Then I got a job. Then I decided that I have to do something to make some money, so I got a little booth at a flea market in Soho. It's called the Spring Street Market. And I designed some stuff, and my father made it in the factory and sent it to New York, and I made some bags and we sold it, and my brother helped me. We used to carry the clothing rack down the street every morning. It was so not glamorous. I was waiting tables at the time as well, so I could, buy nice things, and guess who wasn't happy about that either? But I decided I have to do what I have to do. I got a job at Halston, which was not glamorous either, but it was a great opportunity for me. I quit because it was like devil wears Prada, and I couldn't deal with it, and I wanted to be my own boss. So I made a bag out of an old sari. A friend of mine started wearing it, and she went to a club, it got stolen. And she called me up and she's like, "Your bag got stolen?" And I was like, "Well, that's horrible." She's like, "No, it's great. They emptied all my stuff from the bag, and they stole your bag." So I was like, "Okay, that's really great." She's like, "No, you have to start making some more." So I made a few more, and she was my biggest fan, and she started putting the word out for investors for me. And she met this guy, and she told him about me, and he said, "I want to meet the stolen bag lady," So he met me, and 3 weeks later, or a couple of weeks later, I had $50,000 in hand and a contract to be his business partner to have my own handbag line. So I had a handbag line. I was in all these stores: Barneys, New York, Harrods, London, Seibu in Japan, which is a luxury department store in Japan. And, my business propelled. I was in Lucky Magazine, New Talent, the cover of Women's Wear Daily, which is the Bible of the fashion industry in New York. Those are my clutches. I love clutches. The Wall Street Journal, they mentioned me because I was working with Stingray, and I was one of the only ones at the time working with Stingray, and it's very hard to work with. You have to buy titanium needles and all this stuff. Essence, the girls at Essence loved me. They used to come to my loft and buy bags at cost. So I knew that I could get them if I gave it to them really cheap. Celebrities were seen in my bags. That's Nicole Richie and Michelle Rodriguez from Avatar, Sarah Jessica Parker, Cameron Diaz, Kelly Osbourne. That's my clothes on the cover on Destiny's Child, Essence again. So, I was doing really well, and I mismanaged my funds. I mismanaged my business. I was growing too fast for my own good, and I ended up losing everything. I lost my business, and I got a huge return, and I couldn't handle it. It was just too much for me, and I decided to shut my baby down. I gave up my apartment, my beautiful loft, and I was homeless. That's me. No, it's not me. But I felt like that, and I lived close to there. So, to cut a a long story short, I started waiting tables again, and this is recently. And I didn't tell anyone because I didn't want to come back to Trinidad to move in with my mom again, because I already felt like I was a complete failure for losing everything. And so I decided to go back to waiting tables, which is what I knew through college. It got me through college buying really nice things. And I had to dig really, really deep to actually go back into doing that after having a fabulous life, you know, or so it seemed from the outside. So I'm not doing that anymore, thank God. But I am starting a men's handbag collection. These are some of them. This is some of my press as well. I'm also going back into women's. I'm a partner in a catering company in New York, and we're doing really well. And I'm opening a factory in Trinidad and launching a women's resort line. It's to be solely produced here. I want to hire people from here. I want to train kids, and we live close to an orphanage, my mom in Trinity, and I want to train orphan kids to learn garment production. And that's it. My lesson today pretty much is, well, as my father always used to say, when you fall on your ASS, pick yourself up, dust it off, and keep it moving. So can a handbag change your life? Yes. Can a handbag change your conversation? It changed mine. Thank you.